down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
Welcome to On the Chain Live. We are here. I am Chip. That is...
Might be Jeff.
That's Jeff. And we are here on the Chain Live. We are got another amazing show put together for you. And there's so much going on. I mean, we have to look down memory lane. If we're going to take a look at XRP, we've got to kind of put it into perspective. Yes or no, Jeff?
Yes.
Terrific. Let's kick it off. Let's kick it off right now, shall we?
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
And here we are. So there's so much going on. I mean, there's so much. February's turning out to be a weird month already.
2021 is like the craziest start of a year I think I've ever witnessed. You know, even some dude.
Some dude.
Yeah, just some
Which dude? Which
some
dude?
dude, man. Some dude.
Hey, let's go through who's number one here. We got Mr. Serial, Evening All. And then drop where you're from in there. We've got, looks like, what do we have here? I saw a bunch of different LA, Los Angeles in the house, Toronto, NYC, New York City in the house.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Atlantic, Virginia.
Oh.
Some dude says, hey, on the chain. Live.
Hey,
yeah.
some dude.
Sweden. I like Sweden.
Hey, so yeah, man. So I like the idea of the whole memory lane trip.
Look at Lionel's.
Walk down the memory lane.
Lionel's watching us on over the
Twitter.
UK there, but he's watching us on. He's actually watching us on Twitter, which is cool. But you
And
can
we've
also
got
come in.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we've got Cairns, Australia.
It is cold in Miami tonight. Funny enough, I mean,
Lisa from Ireland. There you go.
oh yeah.
What part of Ireland?
Omar's from PA. We have Austria's here as well, also watching over on Twitter. That's Sonia. And we also have Jatlin from Vancouver, BC in the house.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
All right.
And
So,
Vegas.
Vegas.
Vegas. UK.
Doesn't look like a UK. Oh,
What's
GB. That's the smallest
Great.
font I've ever seen on it.
That's Great Britain. Hey, love you guys from Palm Beach. GoldenEye, that's right here. I'm in Palm Beach. I'm in Palm Beach County, so does that count? I'm in Boca, so there you go.
Hey, I've been to Donegal. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but I've been there. It's an awesome
Probably not,
place.
Jeff. It's a crazy looking hairdo on that Mona Lisa right there.
That is.
Looks like she's been through the crypto market, Jeff. Like if I had to say, Kent.
That's exactly.
Malaysia.
Man, you know what? Before I started getting into digital assets, I had hair longer than yours.
Just tweeted you guys out. Thank you. Yeah, well, mine. Yeah, well, I also had the long hair, which I'm going for that look again.
So we've got Donna from here, from Southwest Kokeri. That place is awesome, man.
Las Cruces.
There's a place just in that Kokeri area, maybe about 45, 50 minutes outside of Dublin, a place called Tolfaris. It's like a golf resort type place that I go to hang out at. Really, really nice.
Romania's in the house. We have Andrew Nation.
Yeah, we got Castleberry, Florida, all the way. Some dude all the way from Orlando.
Love from Leicester. I like that. The Spider from Leicester. I love that. One of my favorite tunes that reminds me of that song, Leicester Square from... great punk
Omar doesn't believe that I had longer hair than you before I got into.
Dude, you got to show these pics, man. We got to do a different kind of memory lane. I'll show you my long hair pics, but I got to see your long.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it.
Let's see if you can find it, Jeff.
All right, so XRP. So shout out to everybody coming in from all over the world. The one thing that's uniting and bringing everybody together tonight, as every other night, is digital asset, cryptocurrency, XRP, Bitcoin, XLM, Dogecoin, and all those other tokens in between, even in the DeFi space. Well, man, Chip, I wanted to start off, I thought it was interesting. I put it in the title. So I thought it would be an interesting place to start with this whole thing, which is XRP. I started thinking you had posted something up about something that happened about 2 years ago with a subsidiary of SBI, giving out dividends in XRP. And I said, what if we kind of started connecting some of the dots, see where we're at with everything. And 1 year ago, 2020, February 2nd of 2020, to be exact, XRP was 25 cents.
Bam. How about that?
Today, February 2nd, 2021, XRP is 37 cents. So year over year, XRP is sitting on a 48% growth, year over year.
Oh, that is fantastic, Jeff.
Is that accurate? Sounds about accurate to me.
Yep. I think it is.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of a cool place to start out as we start looking at it. So then I went a little bit further back and I found this interesting article from 2018. And it said, if you invested $100 in Ripple, now this was January 5th of 2018, so we're going back a couple more years. But if you invested $100 in Ripple, back then it was referenced as Ripple, in January of 2017, so they meant XRP, what would you have now? Now, January of 2017, they were sitting on a price point of XRP of 0.006. So they were referring to in this article as XRP also, but there's a lot of still confusion, hence it was referred to as Ripple in the title. So January 2nd, 2017, XRP is 0.006. And then as you fast forward to January of 2018, XRP was $3.02. So that $100 that you would have invested at that point year over year, which would have been about 15,600 and change of XRP tokens, that $100 would have been worth $46,000 year over year.
That's crazy. But Lionel says he has not shaved his head or cut his hair for 6 months. You don't want to see it. I think we do. I actually think we do. Lionel, we want to see it. Tweet us a picture if you can. I would love to see that. Tweet us a picture. Why not? Yeah, and I think, Jeff, you're providing really good perspective, because a lot of times people get caught up in the day-to-day, they don't really see the bigger picture that, and again, we talked about this a little bit today, because I look at back in the day when I sold some Ethereum for $300. Well, it's now worth $1,500 a piece. It just passed the $1,500 all-time high, which is great. But this is part of the thing. It's like, if you want to take a profit, you can take a profit, but don't necessarily miss some of the over time. If you're going to make a little bit of money, you're going to make you're going to increase your bag holdings or whatever. That's good perspective you're providing there.
Yeah. So then it goes even further, because as we drill down, if we go to February, there was an article came out in February 15th of last year of 2020. And it says here, XRP chart. So this is someone that's charting things out, looking at, February of 2017, right before, or looking at 2017, but right before there was a massive 1,532% rally. So back, February of last year, so a year ago, they're looking and wondering, hey, the charts were looking very similar to what they were looking at then. Is there going to be this major rally? And, obviously there wasn't. It didn't rally. And the one thing that we did see, though, is that XRP, overall seemed to be very, seems to lack volatility overall. It has its points in time where it goes up, and we talk about this a lot. And it so many times, as you go back through the history over the past few years, it seems to settle in the 25 to 40 cent range.
Stable coin. It is stable, and it's not really that volatile, right? So it's like, if you were lucky, we've had a couple dips. I think we had some dips last year that kind of like hit 11 cents and like quickly rebounded, stayed at 17, then back up to 19, oscillate between 19 and 21. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of, you're right. It is kind of stabilizing there, but I thought it was actually surprising where we are today right now.
Yeah, exactly. I did as well. Looking and seeing it was at 37 cents. Sven. But I like that Sven. He used to watch the news at this hour, but now we've replaced his world news, because we're providing the best in-depth insight into his world news as we talk about how long somebody's hair might have been.
And how cool is that, man? Look at my camera's all messed up tonight, Jeff. It's like all
I see that.
Makakta, as they say. Yeah. As they say. There you go.
As they say down in Palm Beach.
Yeah, they say that somewhere. I don't know where they say that exactly, but they say it somewhere. But what else does it go on to say? Because, we got to put this in perspective, and this is going back. How far does that article go back? What are they starting at?
So they're going this. So this was an article from last year. Everything I was looking at is really going back to 2017. So really taking a look at when the digital asset space kind of blew up. Oh, I forgot to plug in my laptop. I'm looking over here. Hey, you've got 11 minutes left on your battery. Hey, that's awesome. And I didn't. It's not that I didn't plug it in, but it got yanked out here. There we go.
Justin, David Duke says, by the way, this is another story that I have, which is Gene Simmons says to invest 10 to 25% of available money into crypto. Says he likes XRP. And we'll get into this in a little bit, Justin. Thanks for bringing it up. But if you guys don't know who Gene Simmons is, he's the crazy dude from Kiss with the really long, weird tongue that spits blood.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
When I was a kid, I loved Kiss. I thought they were the greatest thing ever. And then,
So I follow this. Whole idea. I find a blog, or not a blog, but like a post thing on XRP chat. It says, "Will Japan make XRP big?" Now this was July 10th of 2017, and somebody posted in the forum. He said, "I'm a new user on the forum. but have been following your post for some time. Not our post, not my post.
Yeah.
But lately, I've been especially looking for more information with regards to the Japanese banks and the control stability theories. And he gets in and he goes on. He said, from my perspective, the success of XRP is heavily linked to what the Asian countries will do, Japan especially. The fact that XRP price is being kept directly, indirectly low could mean that banks and other financial institutions are buying up XRP and preparing for the boom of XRP. Now, I think this was 2017, so I thought that this was kind of interesting because then others get into this whole conversation of the focus of the Japanese banks. And they kind of get in and, we could go through and read it. But the most important part was kind of then fast forwarding to 2019, which is what you brought up, which is what started this whole thing, which was SBI holding subsidiary will pay a shareholder dividend in XRP.
Yeah, and that's,
And that
again,
was 2019. It was small. It was just
but what does it demonstrate? It demonstrates yet another use case, right? If you're paying it as a dividend, it's going to be it's a revenue. It's functioning as a cryptocurrency. And I had watched an interview earlier. Tony from Thinking Crypto did a fantastic interview. Gosh, I'm gonna have to reference it here, but I just had it pulled up and then I don't know what happened to it. But he did a really good interview. Here it is right here. I will tell you guys, if you guys want to listen to a solid interview. He interviews, again, we talked about this a little bit, this paper that was authored last week. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick here. But we talked, this is, I hope you guys see that. Yeah, this is, he's from Davis Polk, but his name is Joseph Hall. Remember he authored the paper about XRP. He was talking a lot about that. It's a really good interview. Tony asked some really good questions. He's a securities attorney, former, SEC, I believe. I think he was an SEC official, but his real thing is securities. He talked a little bit about, it was funny because Tony asked him, do you own any crypto? He's like, nope. Securities, nope. I'm a securities attorney. I invest more like in funds. So it's understandable, but it is really well done. If you want to look at a real level-headed, somebody bringing a lot of different, vast knowledge, whether you agree with it or not, this is somebody of a caliber of an attorney that I can get behind. This is somebody who knows their stuff. I see other people commenting out there. I haven't really commented on it, but I don't really think they really always do it justice. But again, that's just like what opinions are for. But this is a real solid attorney, coming in and putting some real solid thought behind it. I thought Tony did a fantastic job. So it was a really, really cool interview. By the way, we're working on somebody too in this space too, kind of on this caliber, that hopefully we'll be bringing to the channel soon, Jeff. Just a matter of got to work out some timing and stuff. But again,
sweet.
another high-powered caliber, somebody who gives a very trusted opinion, right? Just very similar to a Joseph Hall. So that's what we want to talk about. But I like hearing other people's opinions. Look, I frequent all the other channels, and sometimes you agree, you don't. But a lot of times I find it's good to get another perspective, because there were some things that he said in there. I was like, what? What you talking about, Willis? I was like, what? But then I was like, it's kind of good. It makes you think a little bit different. So it's always good to kind of mix it up and see something a little bit different, right there, Jeff? That's what I would say anyway.
Every so often, it's good to see something new and different. I agree with that. I agree. Every so often.
Every so often. Not all the time, but just every so often.
Often.
This was the article I put that I was looking at, this subsidiary of SBI, the investment arm of the Japanese financial giant, obviously. They're paying out this dividends, third largest cryptocurrency. Well,
it paid out back in 19.
They paid it out, right. Intermediate shareholder benefit 2019. To receive it, here's what they had. Eligible recipients just had to open a VC trade account that was operated by the company. So it was like a real simple thing. But again, it's also proving that there is another use case, okay? Because we talked about that Japanese gaming team that gets paid their entire compensation comes from XRP. This is paying out a dividend. So and it's pretty simple. All you do is have to set up an account with VC Trade, and they can accept the dividend. So
that was very cool.
It's cool to see that because a lot of times we think of, well, it can be used for this, and there's ODL. There's going to be so many different use cases for this digital token. Somebody else put a really good question in there. I wanted to see, somebody talked about Flare, wrapping versus staking XRP, what our thoughts were. I'm trying to find that in here. Somebody had posted that.
I saw that further up as you're kind of going there. And I think the significance of what you're talking about with the other use cases and what we're seeing in the development, and obviously a lot of people are here because they want to hear more about what's going on within the digital asset space in general. A lot of people want to hear what's going on with XRP. We like to look at a little bit of everything, but XRP and Ripple, these together, what we're seeing is a lot of big development, that are really changing, from a global perspective, on a very overall far-reaching perspective. And one of the areas that we're seeing the biggest movement, and that's why I thought it was relevant going back to that forum and that conversation. And you brought up that article about them paying dividends. But if we fast forward till now, January of this year, and we've covered this on a previous live stream, but it comes back to SBI, it comes back to Japan, and it comes back to what they're doing within this space. And we're seeing that the founder of SBI, was referring to that XRP is probably, one of the most popular tokens or cryptocurrencies in Japan. And there's just so much going on in Japan. And it goes back to that forum. And he said, XRP, the development of XRP is going to be led, primarily in Asia and primarily Japan. And I think, 4 years later, we're actually seeing that happen.
Yeah, and it's good to see a little bit of payoff. So, I mean, the question was, Eman says, hey, what are your thoughts? Staking XRP on Flare Network versus Wrap. It's kind of hard. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult right now to chime in on that. I think I really need to see some more development. And, I spent a lot of time looking at Flare and the ecosystem that's being built around it. I think it's really going to be spectacular in the sense of it's going to bring a lot of DeFi people from all over the place to the space. The interoperability, it's a very deep project, and what's being built off of Flare, Spark, the whole thing is going. I don't think anything's going to rival it for some time, and it's already been 2 years in the making. If you listen to Hugo, they've already been working on this, so it's a deep project. I think we got to kind of see how some stuff goes. I'm waiting for my coins that are going to drop in 2025, I think 2030. Jeff, when is it? It's hard to know how long it's going to take to actually get the coins, right?
You'll get a little bit of a drizzle here coming up in Q2, about 15%. And then you're going to get a little bit, for the next 3 years. They'll kind of roll it out every single month. You'll get a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. I think May's the first time the drop. I don't know, but listen, the project's exciting. And, they could have said, hey, in 2022, we're going to come out. No, they started moving the project, started getting people excited, started moving, the pieces around the chessboard to kind of get people ready. Did the drop last year. It's like, well, when they do the drop? Last year, December 12th, right?
Yep.
And you still have a little bit of time if you have a ledger or one of the devices that I think I don't know if a Trezor was part of that, Trezor or Elipal, but I know if you had if the snapshot was part of it, you just got to go set that up before. What's the deadline? March something?
I forget what it is. It was in March, though.
It's coming up in March.
You got to do it this month.
You got to do it this month. Do not waste time. Do not waste time. So Gene Simmons, he's better known as I don't know what he call him in KISS. That's what he looks like today. Oh, yeah. And then he's a cool dude, though. He's a very deep thinker. I've heard him in a lot of interviews. This is what he looks like on stage when he's got the full effect and makeup. So if you see that, you're like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, that's the crazy guy that spits blood. But he's also actually a very good bass player. And I wanted to go back to his tweet. He says, I'm not recommending any of these to anyone, but yes, I also bought Dogecoin, XRP, and others. Make of it what you will. And here's the thing I think people don't realize is that the KISS army is massive. There's still an audience. By the way, a good buddy of mine who has a really good band would do the KISS. They did a KISS cruise every year, and he was one of the opening type of bands, and got to know and hang out with these guys. But the people are rabid fans, and they buy everything. And even Gene Simmons one time, he came out and he said, "Hey, we're gonna create a Kiss coffin. Have all the Kiss logo and everything. It was cool because you could open the top and you could use it as an ice chest until you're ready to go down into the ground. So I was like, it was like $5,000 and people were buying it like crazy. It's
Sweet.
So what it does is it opens up a generation, an older generation, people 50s, 60s, 70s who knew Kiss back in the 70s and 80s. But again, they're going, wait a minute, they're putting tweets out, or what's he into, and he's going to talk about it. Thing is, it's bringing a new audience to it. This what Dogecoin? What is that? They probably call it Dogecoin, Dogecoin, XRP.
Dodge.
So yeah,
No,
Dogecoin, Dogecoin. By the way, it's like everyone and their brother is reaching out to me about Bitcoin. No, XRP. No, Dogecoin. Check. It's like that's what you're reaching out to me about because people went nuts about it. But anytime there's some focus, everyone starts pouring into me. Hey, Professor XRP is here. By the way, I want to say what a pleasure it was meeting Professor XRP.
Oh, there he is. Nice.
It was cool meeting him in our meetup this Sunday. We were at a table together hanging out. It was really a pleasure. Really a well-spoken and really a smart guy. Like everybody that showed up there, I was just sitting back like, it was amazing to listen to people. There's some good conversations. I'm like, wow, there's some smart people here, man. I might just maybe some other YouTubers in the space.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really very cool. I'm glad that we put that together. For all those who missed it, we did the first virtual blockchain meetup, sponsored by On the Chain this past Sunday, and I thought it went, awesome. It was great. It was great meeting everybody, great seeing everybody there, and hearing from people within the community. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. And the thing about it was actually more intimate. It's like you have these virtual tables and you could see some seats were taken. You could mouse over and see who was sitting there. And you could either grab a seat at the table or you could click on a seat and you were jettisoned into like a very intimate setting with maybe 6 other people and a conversation, people introducing themselves, talking about the snow that was falling up north and where they're from and what, just a lot of fun. It was good to actually have conversations with you guys because, a lot of our conversations come in the way of text. So actually meet a bunch of you. It was really kind of cool. And you know what? We'll do it again. It'll be a lot more fun. We'll get there. We'll do it again. And we'll bring more people in there. I know Lady E wasn't there, but guess who was there? XRP Bags was there.
Yep.
Dropping knowledge. So it was really cool. And then,
what's up to Channing Smith just walked in.
Yeah, almost like poker tables. That's exactly right. It was almost like poker tables. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's the next target. So we set it up. So hey, what can we find that would be, give you the experience of online poker?
Yeah, pleasure listening to people talk about what you find interesting. The people are a lot smarter than me. That's what you think, Homebase, but you know what? You have tons to contribute as well because I see your comments in here too. So don't discount that.
I liked when Chip's neighbor took the lead seat.
Yeah, it's my buddy Dave. It's so funny. Awesome. Dave and I were talking that morning. We were like out there walking our dogs, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm listening to Jeff." And they were, "Oh, cool." Yeah, we got to do our meetup today. And next thing you know, I didn't realize that the one that Jeff sent me was his. So yeah, he ended up being on stage, and I was like, "Why do I keep getting kicked out, Jeff?" I was getting so frustrated.
It was great. You got kicked out, and it was circling and circling and circling. All of a sudden, he pops up, and I expected him to say hi. Took over the stream. Because he had your name, it had everything, the whole setup was yours. It was so great.
Yeah, Dave, man, Dave from South Africa.
That was awesome.
He's a good dude.
That was awesome. So hey, I wanted to bring this other thing up. I'm gonna try to pull this off. I'm gonna try to share my screen. If I get my mic and my camera cuts off, then I'll have to exit and come back. But
I can always share it too, Jeff. Which story is it?
That's true. Let me try to share it right there.
Try to do it. What do you got?
Am I still there? Can you still see me?
You're still here, but I don't see
sweet.
the. Oh yeah, throw the screen on there. There you go.
There we go. And my
there
camera
it is,
still
yeah.
works. Oh, look at that. That's very cool. So I wanted to look at this graphic because it was interesting. This
Zoom
is
in and lose the thumbnails.
Oh, here we go.
And zoom right there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
I don't know if I can lose the thumbnails.
That's fine. We can see it now. It's perfect.
Yeah. So anyhow, this was from the Bank of International Settlements, and it's like this whole thing was like 17 pages long. So it wasn't so interesting. But the whole thing it's actually getting into digital assets. So if you go over to the title, it's digital currencies and the future of the monetary system. So actually, it was a very interesting overall study. But I got to this point because you start getting into the brain of the people that are putting this study together from the Bank of International Settlements, and they're looking at, when they look at digital currency, what is the actual role? And they see, a clear cut, path that's being carved. One path from the overall architecture of the digital asset space, one going to authority, maintaining trust and stability, which we can call centralized, and the other is purely decentralized governance, which we can refer to as decentralized, or what we're commonly referring to as cryptocurrency. The authority, maintaining trust and stability, centralized, probably more along the lines of the central bank digital currencies, maybe a digital yuan or something comparable, maybe the digital euro when they drop it. And it's interesting though, because they then divide them up to identity accounts and anonymity and tokens. So you can still have interesting division between those two. But Chip, on its face, you're like, okay, hey, maybe there's two options. But then as we drill down here, the one thing that they highlighted here, they get a little bit explaining the different things. But here it was, above all, investors must be cognizant that Bitcoin may well break down altogether. But I thought it was interesting because the Bank of International Settlement not spending too much time discussing other digital asset, but primarily emphasizing and focusing in on Bitcoin. And then I look here and it says, scarcity and cryptography alone do not suffice to guarantee exchange. Bitcoin needs a hugely energy intensive protocol called proof of work. And they kind of get into this. But the one thing that I thought they were missing here, Chip, was the fact of acceptance. So, here they're saying, above all, we have to think that it's going to break down. Scarcity and cryptography alone won't be enough to guarantee that it's going to succeed. Well, we've already gone beyond just scarcity and cryptography because we have global acceptance of value across the board with many different digital assets. The question there is whether or not it's going to continue. And they kind of missed that point here.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a missing. I would imagine that I always wonder like what goes into some of these papers when they craft them. It's always crafted around some sort of they have almost like a preconceived notion before they draft them instead of trying to get everything out. So you're kind of right. But again, I didn't read through all of it. I kind of just skimmed it a little bit. But how long is it? It's
17 pages.
That's like 16 pages longer than I wanted to invest in. I was like,
exactly.
That's a long
page one. There you go. This was just released a few days ago. But yeah, so it really gets in. Do we need new digital currencies? If so, who should issue them? And I think that was the whole point. So I'm scanning it, and I jumped to that page 4 graph, and I said, okay, let me think of what their thought process is, along these digital assets, and then, you kind of get an idea of where they're driving things.
The BIS, man. It's interesting what's happening with. There's sort of a whole. It's almost like a convergence is happening in 2021, right? A lot of stuff leading up from 2020. We had a lot of new things that people were dealing with, and all of a sudden now it's like, oh, you gotta have the CBDC out, and you gotta do this, you gotta release this, and and then you got it's like the funniest thing to me, Jeff, is altcoin season. It's altcoin season. No, it's not. It's just some coins are going, some coins aren't. But then again, that sort of lends a lot of credence to the whole argument of there's Bitcoin, the only one, and then then there's the altcoins, all you little guys out there. It's like no, it's just cryptocurrency, it's a market. But the altcoins says, well, that's going to pump when it's not Bitcoin. I don't like the whole sort of a segregation. To me, it's a market. I mean, you don't say it's alt stock market, alt stocks season. You know what I mean? The alt stocks are going to take off. These are the littler guys that are going to do something. I mean, you have penny stocks, you have stuff, but it's kind of a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
hey,
my
you
thoughts.
remember somebody once said this?
Decentralization equals freedom. I know who says. I tweet that all the time. That's my new thing.
There you
my
go.
new thing to tweet. Decentralization equals freedom. But what does centralization equal, Jeff?
Not freedom. Centralization, the exact opposite. Obviously, I think, Chip, it's interesting because I got into it. It was your tweet that you'd put out, and I pulled that up on Saturday and was reading through it, and it sticks with you because, what is BIS talking about? BIS is looking at decentralization as something that is potentially bad. It looks like it's going to be it's going to be fragmented. And then they look at centralized as good. One of the things that, the statements there that they made here was, let me see if I can find it, when they were talking about why the centralization part. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Why authority would be good. It says here, let me see. Oh, so if societies want digital money, the first fork in the road is the choice of operational architecture, right? So that was the centralized, the operational architecture. Should the payment system rely on a trusted central authority, such as the central bank, to ensure integrity and finality, as a question mark? Or could it be based on decentralized governance, where the validity of a payment depends on achieving consensus among network participants on what counts as valid payments? But I was kind of focusing in on, the first fork of the road is the choice of operational architecture, and are you going to rely on that trusted, trusted central authority for that? Now, can you, is that something that we've seen over the past, these central authorities that are printing our money into oblivion? Is that the right course of action?
That's the wrong course of action right there. Centralization equals control and censorship. Right there. That is no good. No bueno. This is bueno right here. Bueno.
And then you need some sort of a balance, right? Because we don't want to dwell into anarchy. And we also know that, nations need to maintain some semblance of sovereignty, and currency is part of that sovereignty and sovereign identity. But at the same time, we need our freedoms as individuals and, citizens of the countries we live in.
Well, that's that's a great point, because the argument goes, we want clarity. Well, we want clarity. What we don't want is over-regulation. We don't want to oversteer and then drive it into the ground, because a lot of governments over-regulate a lot of stuff, and you got to kind of loosen up the regulations. Yeah, it's a necessary evil, but if you overdo it, it can be kind of not a good thing, right? I mean, if it's going to go too far one way. I wanted to pull this up, Jeff, a little segue here, but this is a cool article you found today, and we were chatting about it, because Jeff and I chat about stuff all day long, but this was a good one. Tell me if you remember this one.
Oh, well, there you go.
Biden's SEC pick, and this is not in a crypto publication, but Biden's SEC pick sideline as the GameStop drama unfolds. And Jeff had sent to me this thing, and he's like, uh-oh, so President Biden's choice to become the top cop on Wall Street, SEC, faces growing pressure to sort out the GameStop frenzy, a logjam, putting it mildly, and approving the cabinet picks has delayed Gary Gensler's potential confirmation as the SEC chairman, leaving the regulator without a permanent leader to bridge a partisan 2-2 split on its board. So Jeff, unpack this a little bit. What does this mean for an upcoming lawsuit that's happening and a lot of other things in the space when they really potentially don't even have somebody who's acting the director or chairman, I should say?
Yeah, when I saw that article pop up, I'm just mystified. You know that, you're having major issues. You know that the SEC is relevant right now. You know that the SEC has to provide comment on what's going on with the hedge funds and with Wall Street bets. You know that there's a major lawsuit coming up, with Ripple, SEC v. Ripple, and there's others, in the pipeline. As members that oversee, the SEC, that the SEC has a lot going on. Why, why would they sideline, what does it take to add him? He's already been approved, I believe. Is it a matter of just voting him in? I mean, well, it makes no sense. It just,
the problem is they're consumed with other things. Says Senate, while doing its best, and they're not doing their best. They don't even come close to.
Come on.
The Senate is a joke. Already. It's a joke.
The Senate Banking Committee, it's already ridiculous. That's why they declined to comment, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you had what happened in I never can say it right. I just call it Myanmar, but they weren't sure if it was a coup or not. Jeff,
Myanmar. Myanmar.
Myanmar. So
In Burma.
Myanmar gets taken over by the military, and they're not sure if they should comment and whether they should refer to it as a coup or not. Okay, so the Senate, while doing its best, you have to confirm Gensler and the natural turnover to SEC staff that comes with changing the guard, right? So we know that a bunch of directors left. We know that a bunch of attorneys left. That's why I always say, like, well, who the hell is left there that has a half interest in even wanting to do this? I mean, Crypto Mom's like, hell no, we don't want to do this. We don't want to prosecute this thing. And it says whether he'll face the senators. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? It's like,
I mean, why now? Why now? It just doesn't make any sense.
well, the other thing that I think is weird too is like, it refers to this up here. It says the lawmakers in both parties are calling on the SEC to take action after Reddit-driven stock rallies roiled the financial sector and forced several major investing. See, this is where this is completely a miss. It's completely wrong. They're inferring here that the Reddit-driven stock rallies, people doing stuff above board, not in backroom deals, not shorting a stock, that there's somehow, and this is where I think that the anger or I guess the blame is misplaced here. It says the SEC said last week it'll investigate the fallout. Oh, yeah. Well, will it take 8 or 9 years like they took to try to put some clarity around crypto space? And it says the Democrats and the Republicans, if they're united on something, I don't know. I mean, that's like when hell freezes over, man. I'm not necessarily sure.
But this is what they do. They drag their feet again. What were you talking about? Was it yesterday? I said they're too busy tripping over their own shoelaces.
Boom, boom.
I mean, that's basically what they're doing. They're trying to figure that out.
Exactly what they're doing.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And you can see, I mean, even in that statement, there you go, Barbara Taylor, they're stalling.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're like, I don't know, should we say the right thing? It's not the wrong thing. Nobody knows. Justin says it'll play out very soon. Look at this one. International trader. Do you think the cryptocurrency wallets could be built into a phone architecture and implement payment methods like Google Pay and Apple Pay? You have a wallet on your phone's IP address. Well, they do have them now. To think that Apple and Google are not going to get into the crypto space, I'm just shocked at how the adoption has been so slow, right?
It's waiting for them to be replaced.
Well, that too. I mean, there's pre-search, right? So I don't know if you guys have checked out this pre-search. It's actually pretty cool. So I think we talked about that one night where you can search for stuff out there. But again, decentralization, I'm always into whatever's decentralization, but you also have to make a good product, right? Yeah. So a lot of these social networks, it's like, they made this product over here. Yeah, but it's not that good, It's like it needs a little bit of love, But I think it's coming.
Talking about that, it's interesting because I've been watching so many videos analyzing what happened with GameStop, and the hedge funds and all of that. And like Lionel saying, hedge funds need to be clamped down on. So there's already commentary out of the Senate that's saying that the hedge fund, but the shorting needs to be clamped down on also.
Exactly.
So they're looking at shorting as something negative, but shorting is also needed in the ecosystem. So you can't shut down shorting in its entirety, but shorting at 140%, I don't believe is legit. I've heard multiple people, including Charles Payne, saying that it's not legal for them to short at 140%. Right. So there's other things going on, but then I was watching an interview with Tom Nash. I forget who we had on interviewing, but they were talking about Robinhood and Vlad from Robinhood. And one of the things that he's trying to do, he's trying to push for immediate settlement of securities. So right now, one of the issues that Robinhood ran into is that anybody that's trading a stock, there's a 2-day settlement period on that stock trade, but the stock exchange has to go to the clearinghouse in order to purchase the stock. So although the money isn't 100% transacted yet, Robinhood is on the hook and has to transfer the money right away over to the clearinghouse. And now if people are calling options and shorting and doing all these other things, then there's money that's, a lot of this hasn't even impacted and hit or settled. So there's a lot of money floating out there as well. And I think that's another element where Robinhood, kind of got in over his head. And that's what the one guy was saying, is that maybe he doesn't truly understand all the different dynamics of what's happening, mainly because he wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah. But I mean, could you prepare? I mean, this is the thing. What happened this past weekend when we saw like Uphold experience issues, Kraken. You can stress test all you want, but the thing about it is when you just don't know how to prepare. And the problem with stress testing too is that it only gives you sort of a little bit of a glimpse, and you never know how you're going to get hit. So it's always going to be there's going to be tech issues, and I understand when you got a clearinghouse to deal with. It can be interesting. Vladimir Tenev, he's the CEO of Robinhood. I thought it was pretty funny now that referred to him as Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny. And, to move along into our tech segment, how do you feel about this? There's two things sort of happened today. Jeff Bezos steps down. That's the CEO of obviously of Amazon. And some guy named Andy Jassy, no one even knows who the hell's that to become the new Amazon CEO. And in related news, Jeff, we also had Elon Musk says I'm off Twitter for a while. How weird is this? The two of the most well-known, prolific. I'm almost waiting to hear from Tim Cook, from Apple to say like, hey man, I'm taking a short sabbatical for a period of time. You know what I mean?
Taking a break, yeah.
What does that mean? I'm off Twitter for a while. I know one of the Saturn rockets had landed. Today. Well, it landed hard, Jeff. It blew up. It didn't make the normal landing it's supposed to, but it
was a test rocket, so it's not like it had a payload.
Right, exactly. But again, when you're testing stuff, do you find this kind of weird though? Like all of a sudden, you got two of the most well-known, CEOs, leaders out there, thought leaders, are just like, well, there's something weird going on. This is how weird February's going.
Right. Yeah, it's the second. The bulls out. Here we go. Mr. Cloud Services.
Cloud Services, yeah.
That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, because that was 60% of the revenue, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are going to see that's.
It crashed. It went down sideways.
Well,
if that's landing hard.
But I told a buddy of mine, I was like, yeah, it did land. Not the way it was intended.
It landed in a ball of fury.
It was so cool when you saw that picture and boom.
Yeah.
A big ball of fire.
Oh yeah,
it really makes a nice firework, but
that was nice, man. But so there was a lot of other stuff that was going on at the same time in that same chat. Another article I was reading on Robinhood, someone was saying that they don't believe it's going to last because now there's lawsuits that are pending, and he said that Vlad's caught up in some stuff, and now he said the time is limited now for Robinhood, based on once those lawsuits hit. But here's something else, Chip. I don't know if you saw this. Deutsche Bank says that $31 million blockchain investment could save capital markets billions of dollars.
Is that amazing?
Now, it was a bigger portfolio, though. But that's Deutsche Bank talking about that right now.
But it's a cool article, though, man. I thought it was actually. I'm thinking, wait a minute, it was 31 million, right? Or billion?
31 million.
31 million. Amazing, man.
Yep. So meanwhile, MicroStrategy, he's like 31 million. What the hell's that? I just put $10 billion or $1 billion into Bitcoin, and he added another $10 million. Now MicroStrategy holds 71,079 Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, man. It's really crazy. And then another cool thing happened too. There's a lot of hubbub about this too. If you hold XLM, we saw Stellar became the new home of the USDC as the integration finally went live. Stellar blockchain can now be used to pay with your USDC, the second largest stablecoin. So announced Tuesday.
What do you think that means? What does that mean exactly? What are they doing? What does this orchestration mean for Stellar? What does it mean for USDC? What does it mean for Circle?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's ultimately it's a pretty good thing, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I remember hearing about this. It said it was announced back in October of 2020. It's since doubled the supply, blah blah blah. Primarily used on Ethereum, where most of the entirety of its supply is found, and then Algorand was the second blockchain to host USDC. So it's seen a little bit of slow adoption. Over 11 million currently circulates on Algorand, up from 3.5 million. But they're hoping that it will power a wave of adoption of cross-border payments for the blockchain, and I think that's really probably where the big bang for the buck is. The project has 104% year-over-year growth for the payments on the network, and the integration comes from support from Circle's APIs. I gotta tell you, back in the day, when I was first buying Bitcoin on some shady places, but I remember one of the first places I purchased it on was Circle. I want to say circa 19 or 2000. What year? What millennium era? Let's see. It was 2014, and it was great for about a year, and then they like, oh no, we're not going to do trading anymore, and they got out of trading, and I'm like, well, what the hell? It was a cool app. It was a really easy to use app. I bought Bitcoin on there back in the day, which is pretty awesome.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah. So
Bitcoin. That's where you got the Bitcoin.
That's where I got the Bitcoin on Circle, man. It was great because my wallet was down there. It was cool, but then they're like, oh no, we're not going to do trading anymore. I was like, what the hell, man? It was either 2013 or 2014, somewhere around there. It says that Stellar lacked support from major stablecoin providers, made it harder to fulfill a mission of bringing cross-border value settlement layer. A number of Stellar ecosystem reportedly in the process of implementing USDC. The whole idea of this, the whole idea of the, I guess, of a stable coin. This is probably one of the perfect use cases for it. If you own USDC, but I still think they're missing that. They're missing that one thing, which is, people don't really necessarily care if you're into crypto, cool. But I think the power of sending cross-border payments really relies, mostly on an app. It's in your pocket. It's like if I can grab this thing in my pocket, and I can go over there and say to David Maturo, I'm going to send him one, or Danny Wilkins, I'm going to be, or Captain Crypto, just like chick chick boop, and then they receive it. That's what's important. Like, I think they put a little bit of stock into the whole idea of we're still building this around crypto people. I think it's better to build it more around retail, because I think that was the original promise of what XLM was to be. But it's important for a lot of different ways. But Andrew Nation says to the moon for XRP. Well, you are spot on. That's it. Thanks for tonight's show. Appreciate it. No, it's we're going to the moon at some point. The weird thing is, somebody was saying about the moon, they go like the flat earthers, they think that the moon is like a lot closer. And I'm like, well, what does that mean for the price of crypto if we hit that moon, right? Suppose we're just on a flat piece of earth flying through space, and you're zooming, and then you hit the moon. And you're like,
all
wow,
right. So XRP hits, or your digital asset holdings in general, over the next year, stuff goes parabolic. Everything's amazing. Do you go to Elon Musk and say, hey, I want to be on one of the next SpaceX flights where they're getting non-NASA trained, or
it's a no for me, Jeff.
Civilians going up there, floating around? No.
It's a no for me. How about you? You in?
Moonshot, Mars mission.
Man. You know what? And my dad said this a long time ago. He goes, I don't fly with people I know. And I was like, I never understood that thing until I grew up, and I was like, I kind of get that, man. I don't know, man. It's like the whole idea of flying like civilian. Like, listen, early adoption, there's always bugs, right? And you know what I mean? It's like you early adopt something. It's like people are like, did you upgrade to the latest version of the software? No, I kind of wait for the stuff to get worked out, then I do the upgrade. I also make sure that everything's supported in the ecosystem which I work in. I want to make sure that I don't want to be waiting and then get the email, sorry, we're working on the next update, we'll have it ready in about a month. Well, that was a bad mistake. So I don't know, Jeff. The jury's now. What I want to be flying around, because I really want to get a picture up there. So it sounds like we're flying and Lionel's buying.
See, Lionel's coming. We're going.
It's coming along. We're gonna go along. Can we bring whiskey, a little flask maybe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Now the question is, if you're up there, no gravity, what happens to your whiskey? Have they tried that out yet? Wonder if they've tried to float whiskey in the.
Has whiskey ever been in space? I mean, has it ever been up in the atmosphere? Jacob Doyle says, hey, Chip and Jeff, what price do you sell your first portion of XRP? This actually came up. The same question came up at the meetup this weekend. And people were shocked when I said, I don't have a set price. I don't plan on selling for a long time. So people said, like, really? And I was like, Uh-oh, did I say the wrong thing? Because I was
Yeah,
like,
mine's dictated by time, not by
yeah,
value.
right.
Because to me, I put it in there, I look at it as though it's gone. It doesn't exist. Move it around, whatever, but overall it just doesn't exist anymore. And so 5, 10 years is the plan. Maybe 5 years. It's a five-year hold. We'll see
Yeah, I
where it
mean,
is. But
it
if it's
kind of,
shorter than that, then that's awesome. If it's 5 years, we're sitting at 25 cents, I'll say, you know what? It's been 5 years.
well,
Let's go
here's
another
why.
five.
But here's why I'll say that, because when you make colossal mistakes like I've made, Jeff, when you buy Bitcoin around 280 and you sell it for 800, you're like, I won, I 4 times my money. And then it goes to 20K and then it goes to 40K. You're like, maybe setting that price point at 800 wasn't so significant. Maybe I should have just said, hey, let me just hang on to it a little bit longer. So that's why that kind of had me second guess all these price points. So look, you're gonna
Right.
have to feel it out. There's different circumstances too. Like what happens a year from now or 6 months from now. There may be things
Don't
going
know.
on in your life where you might have to do, like say like, well,
Yep.
now's the time. But I don't know. I'm not.
Well,
I don't want to go there.
yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I'm upset that I put money into digital assets on Robinhood. And I did it because I had money there from stock trading and I didn't want to take it out. And I said, let me just try to see what it's like buying assets over there. And then I left it there. I ended up, selling for a profit, but I wanted to move off of Robinhood, but I didn't want to sell the digital assets, but I wanted to get them off of Robinhood and I had no choice. And I guess, in retrospect, I could have taken other money and bought the digital assets that I wanted to when I wanted to. But, I said, you know what, I'm just going to wait for it to clear. Everything cleared yesterday. And then meantime, things are looking up. So now I'm just sitting on
See,
whatever I held there.
Tristan bought when I sold it at 800. He grabbed it, snagged it, right?
There
So
you
this is
go.
Look, these are the kind of things. I mean, that's why I say, evaluate it
You
when you
never
get
know.
there. I don't need to know every little thing that's going on. I mean, because I've certainly, like I said, if you sell your ether at 300, you're like it could have been 1500. So, but as long as you're taking profits and you're doing stuff that works for you in accordance with how you govern your life and your set of rules, then that's it. That's the
That's
only standard
exactly
you
it.
really need to
Yep.
live by. You don't have to worry about other people's standards. And you're like,
Nope.
all right, Chip doesn't have anything, and then Jeff's like holding on. That's the whole thing. You want to give it a little bit of time. You want to wait. It's investing. It's like
Yeah, and you really have to. You can't look back. You can't look forward.
agreed.
It just is. You make your choice to sell, a stock, a digital asset, whatever it is. Once you sell, you take the profit, you take the loss, you move on with your life. I mean, I look back only because I have them in my watch list, but I have stocks that I traded, and some of them I traded for a loss. Because of the algorithm, or my spreadsheet said I had to sell it. And I sold it. And they stopped out. But now I look at them and I look, holy, it would have been amazing. Like I'm
You
trying to
can't
think
do
of,
that.
you can't, but they come up and I'm like, whatever, there's nothing I can do about it now. I mean, it is what it is. But the thing is, they were bought, sold, they weren't long-term holds. So you can't look backwards. You just gotta just live in
That's
the
a good
moment,
point.
I guess.
And that's a beautiful segue to this because we do have a podcast. And guys, I want to thank everybody. It's been growing. We just started it this 2021, and I have to say it's really growing. You guys can subscribe here. It looks like this right here. You just come in there, and you can listen to all the episodes. But more importantly, once you subscribe on your platform, you'll get notices. So if you're on Spotify, it'll tell you when we drop a new episode. And as soon as we wrap this, we upload it. So sometimes you don't make the live stream, but maybe the next morning you're on a commute or you're doing something the next day or later that day if you're on the other side of the world. It's a great thing to just sub to there, and you can always catch us. Sometimes you don't really want to, maybe you don't want to boot up YouTube. You just want to like throw something on, throw your phone on the seat, and just listen along. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And also, too, I want to remind everybody, first time here, subscribe and smash those thumbs up. There's another channel we have. We dropped
There is.
video.
Didn't even know that.
Jeff, there is, Jeff. Of course you know. We drop videos there all the time, And there is another channel. And the last video that I dropped was, I think, was it yesterday?
You did.
I dropped the
this
video
morning.
yesterday. It was like, and they're shorter form. When I say shorter form, that's like, well, this one was 18 minutes long, so which was good, and it looked like, let's see, this was it right here. There it is right there. So you can see,
Hey, big shout out to Buddy Boyo Radio.
Buddy Boyle Radio.
He's been holding since 17 if it never hits $1. Come on.
Jeff, I was really proud of this. I spent a little bit of time doing this. This is at Ripple. It was a whole Star Wars themed thing where Ripple strikes back. So I talked about, anyway, got only 1.5 views, but that channel does not have as many subscribers as some of our other channels have. So, but thank you for that, Buddy Boyo. No, we're not J-offs. We're not that at all. We are absolutely the smartest people and humans. No, man, don't worry about that. People go like, well, when I tell people, do you know what the all-time high of XRP was? They're like, what is it? I'm like, I think it was 384, and they're like, what? I'm like, when we blow past that, we're gonna leave that in the dust, okay? Because Clarity, the one asset that's going to be on sale, the top performer, it's all going, and it's going off in a big way. So that much I can say. So I want to just thank everybody again for coming here. We'll be doing this again tomorrow night, bringing you some more tech news and crypto news and all that
XRP
stuff.
FOMO night.
Tomorrow's FOMO night. We're going to get into it. And yeah, so I don't know, any other comments, Jeff?
Let me see, where can I start? No, I want to say, hey, I appreciate everyone coming in here, spending their evening with us. You guys are awesome, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody back here tomorrow night. If you're brand new here, as Chip said, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and it's even written right down there below us. Subscribe, hit the little bell notifier because you'll get notified every time we go live. And if you want to support and help us, obviously the thumbs up and obviously sharing the video always helps. And that's it. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night and seeing everybody again at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, exclusively here
on the chain.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.